Hello, everyone. Welcome to Millennial Movie Talk, episode 55. I'm your host, Alex. I'm joined with, as always, Braden Dixon.
Hello, how is everybody?
Michael Herman.
Yo.
This is definitely not the right order. Steph Rillo.
Hello.
And then special guest, welcome from Hack the Dino,
Smack that rhino.
Dan McGuiness.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Woo! Friend of the show, Dan. How are you doing today, Dan? How is everything going on?
It's all right. I worked today. I rode home in the rain and my $400 rain gear got a leak and I had a big splotch mark on the front of my top when I got home.
That sounds like an eventful day.
Yeah, I felt like a failure.
I also worked today.
Oh, how was work, Alex? How's
It's so
work
busy.
out there with the crazy people?
Yeah, they're crazy as always, man. It's ridiculous.
What were they? Do you have a crazy example?
Yeah, anything weird today?
A lady coughed on one of my employees, not one of my employees, one of the people I work with.
That's so faux pas these days.
Like, did you purposely cough on you?
I'm not too sure what it was, but other than that, just old people having to learn to use self-serve, which is great because no one wants to serve them.
Pretty good, really. SA, is this the 5th day or something without any COVID cases?
Yeah, for us, it's actually going all right for the moment, but people are still dumb.
Yeah.
Very.
Well, that's the pandemic or not, that is the case.
I mean,
Yes.
Did you see that Sydney opened up Bondi again?
Jesus
Did
Christ.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, why?
Good
Oh, my
Lord.
People were there.
I think
Of course people are going to be there.
all of Queensland opened up, I think, to restaurants and stuff.
Jesus.
Did they?
It's insane.
That's dumb.
All right. Well, I reckon starting off the show this week, since we've got a wonderful special guest here, Dan, why don't you share a bit about yourself? What sort of movies are you into? What's your sort of likes and dislikes?
What's your jam?
Yeah, what is my jam? So my name is Dan McGuiness. For work, I do a couple of things. I am a co-owner of Greenlight Comics in the city of Adelaide. I also am a children's book illustrator, mostly for Scholastic, doing pictures and stuff. And what else do I do? Oh, and I also do Hack the Dino, which is like an online a video game thing like what we're doing now, but instead of movies, it's video games.
Yeah.
Braden is part of that. And what movies do I like? So I am an indulgent movie watcher. I like the stuff like, the Marvel films. I like special effects things. I love horror. What else do I love? But that's not to say that's all I like. I also love animation. I love anime, Japanese animation. I love all sorts of kind of films. But yeah, my when I sit down and watch a film, I always just want it to be like a blockbuster special effects, fast and avenging furiously.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I love a bit of Fast and Furious.
Do you have
gonna
a
say,
top 5 films?
Hit all the keywords there. That
You
was
can't
good.
ask someone that.
Oh, I can't. It's better than
Top
asking.
five.
My top 5.
Yeah.
Oh man,
It's better than asking for one.
definitely Fight Club would be in there probably. I mean, that is not any of the things I just described.
Gritty, dark comedy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I would probably say, as far as animation goes, it's hard for me to pin down an animation. But yeah, I'd have to go like Ghibli movies, probably Spirited Away or Pompoko is one of my favorites. I really like Cabin in the Woods. Yeah, I love Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
The best one. The best one.
It really is the best one. Hey, it hands down. You can't argue with that.
Oh,
Could go Wes Craven's New Nightmare if you really wanted to dabble around.
what's your favorite?
But you have to have the backstory of the other ones before you can
true.
New Nightmare anyway. Yeah, apart from that, I went to film school. I got a certificate in film, whatever that's called back then, about probably 20 years ago.
I was going to say that's the other key element to actually having Dan on the show is that, Dan, you're a child of the 80s.
No, I was born in the 70s.
Oh, well, I mean, you were a kid in the 80s is what I meant. I was trying to be nice.
He was a product of the 70s.
Yeah, I was a product of free love. I went to film school. Then I worked at the film school for a while. I went back and not taught, but was more like the technical officer guy of editing and stuff like that. Then I worked for the South Australian Film Corporation for a while and on some feature films, 2 films until I quit because I hated that business. I worked on a film called Lucky Miles. Do you guys remember that Australian film about refugees?
Gonna do a quick googly.
I was going to say,
Heard of it?
I remember when you were telling me about this. It would have been late last year, maybe. I think.
Yeah, but I quit.
You showed me this.
I actually had to go do something halfway through and had to quit halfway through filming on that one. The one I stuck through all the way to the end was called Deck Dogs. That was filmed in Adelaide and Sydney. It had Tony Hawk in it.
That's right.
Jesus.
But I think I made the credits in that one.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't think I made the other one because I bailed out on them like so harshly that they said I'd never work in that industry again, and I didn't.
They were right.
But anyhow, that's my film knowledge. Apart from that, I love film. I love editing. I've always been an editor. I worked as a wedding editor for a while, for about 2 years, doing Catholic weddings.
It's a big change. Big change of pace from then twist into skateboard videos.
Yeah. And also, I've run a whole bunch of skateboarding companies where we made skateboard videos, and that's where my editing blossomed. That's when I first started getting into it. But editing like the wedding videos was soul destroying. But as a kid, that was like, living week to week, living weekend to weekend just to get alcohol money, like $600 a day was pretty good for me, that kind of thing.
Damn straight.
Definitely.
Well,
Yeah. I work one day a week.
I have a few questions about your the film school and all that, and working in actual like professional film. What was the reason that made you leave? If you don't mind me asking, was it the people? Was it the work? Because
it was the hours you had to put in for no money. A lot of it was like they just expect you to work like very hard for nothing, and I understand that, but I couldn't grasp the idea that you had to do that. Like that was just this standard that had come in through greedy people wanting people to work for free that has somehow become the standard, and it annoyed me so much. Also, at the time, like I had to choose between a girl and a film, and I chose a girl. Which is my wife now. So
hell yeah.
There you go. At least it worked out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I grew away from it. But I do love film.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, one of the big things was the reason why I didn't follow up any of the film school stuff was because the people really a lot of them, they're horrible. And from what I've heard, a lot of them are like that. They will cut you. They will backstab you for anything.
Really?
It's unfortunate. It's because it's such a cutthroat business with hardly any pay that it's all about either reputation or power or anything like that. And you go against that in any way, you just flick.
Yeah. And I'm not like that. So that was when I just went, I can't do this.
Yeah. It's also kind of, one of the reasons I ducked out. It's just, if you're nice, you just get destroyed and trodden all over. And you have to be so brutal and like, you have to be so cutthroat for your ideas to get in. You have to basically fuck someone else over to get your stuff through. But in other words, I'm sure other people have had really good experiences. Like walked in, got a script done, met all the best people in the world, and then like drank martinis the rest of their life.
One side of a coin, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, like any industry, you've got all sorts of varying styles and types of people, and some people get super lucky and have really pleasant experiences. Some people get unlucky and have unpleasant experiences. But
let's not beat around the bush. I shot myself in the foot. I quit a thing halfway through. Like I was
going to say, one of those things
if they're
where
watching this, they'd be like, "But you left." Yeah, I did. I left.
It's like, no, I did leave. I chose to leave.
Well, they were like, when I got the job, they were like, you'll work in Adelaide, you're like found props, you'll go out and find all these things, you'll make stuff. And I did all that. And then they're like, oh, you have to go away for 8 weeks and live in Australian outback in the heat in a caravan. I'm like, what do you mean? And they go, well, that's what you have to do. We need you to do that. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And they're like, well... And that's when I kind of bailed. They gave me an ultimatum of like, do this thing that we said you weren't going to do. We promised you wouldn't. Because I said, I don't want to work out of Adelaide. I've got stuff to do. Yeah. And then they said, yeah, you have to go like to the outback to Could
Right.
be.
Yeah. See, it's,
They don't care. They're just like, you do that.
Just
Well,
expecting you to drop everything and roll over.
they'll say what you want to hear until time comes,
Yeah.
and then
But anyhow, let's talk about the best part of films, watching them.
oh,
Honest to God, very true, very true. The best part of films is actually not having to do any of the work and just sitting there and enjoying it.
exactly critiquing them. That's much more fun.
Yeah, looking at other people's hard work, knowing how hard it is, and then giving them shit for it.
Exactly. I made a short film in film school, and I was like, geez, even that was like hard. And I was just like, you know what? All these people that make these multi-million-dollar blockbusters that shit on some of them.
Ooh, is your film school film on the interwebs?
No, I made sure it never got seen.
I've got mine on a
Have you actually fully
DVD.
watched it yet?
Have I fully watched
You
it?
fully
Yeah, of
watched
course.
it?
I edited it. I had to fully watch it.
Yeah,
How
but
many-
then again, is that the one I helped with?
Yeah,
Like the
probably.
final one?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Yeah, this one was god awful. And it was, you know, I don't want to say it was a mixture of the people that we decided to work with. There was 3 directors. That's how it went. We had to do it in groups of 3, and everyone had to share writing, directing, and thing. And we had to, and the minimum, and it was a minimum group of 3. So me and this other guy, we've been working together throughout the whole film school, and we had a clear vision. We knew what we wanted to do, but because it was a minimum of 3, we had to get this other person who,
You got a donkey.
yeah, it went out of his way to make it hard. It was, we need to get this shot, and he's like, no, I've already got it. It's fine. Then we went to editing, and he didn't have it.
What a champion.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I'm thinking of. You didn't want to get all those like little shots, to, like, you know, fill
We
it in.
needed, you know, when you need your close-ups, your cut-ins, your reverse shots, you know,
This boy went to film school.
you need all of them, and he just didn't understand that. He just wanted to get it done fast, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
How long was your film? How many minutes did you have to do?
It was 19 in the end.
That's a lot for a student film.
Yeah. And you know, it just, you know, whatever.
When I did film school back in the day, we had to do it on Super 8.
Hell yeah.
I love that.
We had our first film we had to do. You had to film it, and then we had to send it to Sweden to get processed.
What?
And so many people's films came back with this nothing because like those cameras are crap.
Oh my
And then-
God. So unreliable.
And I think-
I mean, it was in that age of DV, but our first project was you had to do it on Super 8. And like, it was pretty crazy.
And what made that film that we made harder was that the story idea for it, we actually didn't write ourselves. What it was it was short stories that we wrote the year before.
Oh.
Oh.
And we had to choose those ones and then make it into like a short drama, he called them,
Nice.
I guess. But yeah.
Right, so they had to take something from before you'd continued learning
Yeah.
and then force you to deal with whatever you
Yep.
did back then.
Yep, in term 2 of year 1 out of year 2.
Well, it makes sense. It's like, as a director, you might get a script that isn't super good and you try to make the best out of it. I mean, it's fine. Like, you're not going to come out of film school with like, you're not going to Kevin Smith or whatever, that Tarantino, Kevin Smith one that they go to where they come out with those films.
And I feel like, but the more fun I had and the ones I liked and the ones that I thought turned out actually all right were the ones that I had worked on myself. Like I had the vision because I wrote it. So
Yeah, so you know what you're actually trying to achieve.
Braden's in one of them.
I'm not sure if we've ever mentioned how that was where we met Alex.
Film school? Yeah, it was. When you bailed in term 1.
Hell yeah. I did like 6 weeks.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
6 weeks, and I was like, cool, not for me. Bye-bye.
Really? Why? What did you find? What did you find so offensive about film school?
No, I think
Do you prefer to do maths and physics?
hell no, I preferred to just work. I did.
How's that going?
I made it a gap year. Well, not good now, but yeah, it was 100% just like it was just a combination of the people and how it was going. I was just like,
Can
not for me.
I interject here? Did you say you would rather work and then you went and applied and you're currently doing a degree in creative writing?
well, it's a Bachelor of Arts, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
It's
Oh, even
more
better.
general
Even
than
better.
That's what I'm saying.
Nailed it.
Hey.
Don't worry, Steph.
Creative writing. Where are you doing that?
Uni SA, my man.
Which one's that? Is that the one in the city?
That's the blue one.
Yeah, right.
They've got a campus in the city. There's also one at McGill.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's 2 campuses in the city.
Two in the city.
It's not the main uni with the uni bar.
No.
that's-
No, that's Adelaide Uni, where
Yeah,
I
it's
went.
Adelaide.
I never went to uni, so you can tell.
100%. Do we want to get into a question topic, or do we want to get into what we've been watching? Because
It's
we've
up
got
to you,
plenty to
dude.
talk about in there.
I've got a little segment that we missed last week and that Alex brought
Ooh.
back this week.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called ISO buys.
ISO buys.
Yeah, it's Alex just buys a bunch of shit.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
Alex spending his hard-earned cash.
And last episode of ISO buys, Alex bought Frozen 2, The Rise of Skywalker, Jojo Rabbit, and I think that's it. This week we've got 1917,
Nice.
The Little Women that aren't that little.
Still mad about that?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
really old, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they're not little at all. It's annoying. Jumanji 3.
What?
Jumanji 2.
It's Jumanji 3. Can we?
What about Zarath? What was it called?
Oh,
Zathura.
Zathura. Isn't that Jumanji 2?
Space Avenger. It could be. They're in the same universe.
Yeah. So Jumanji, the new one
Zathura
that came
Endgame.
out last year, was the
I can't
third
wait for
one.
Jumanji Endgame when there's Zathura characters come in.
And they CGI
yeah,
Robin
yeah.
Williams back.
Oh,
Oh,
de-age him a little bit.
I don't have to de-age him a fair bit.
True.
And put skin back on him.
greatest film ever made, Steph? Not really.
What is
It's
it?
up. I mean, it's pretty good. Pretty
The
good movie.
Gents.
The
Who,
Gentleman.
is that? I don't know that film. Was that
That's-
Goldblum on the very left?
No, that's Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Henry Golding, Hugh Grant, and Colin Farrell.
That may be the sexiest film I've ever seen.
It is.
It's
Don't worry.
beyond. It is just like beyond anything. And it's Guy Ritchie directed it, which is very cool as well.
I've got a massive soft spot for 90s rom-coms as well.
Okay, I mean, with me, with
Meg Ryan. That's where it's at. That lady is so funny.
and then I just got the Bad Boys films because the newest one came out.
Yeah, sure, just get them all again.
Yeah, again, I don't even have this one.
Is that one at the very front, like one of those brown? What were those brown? Like when Blu-ray lost that
Oh,
Blu-ray.
no, these are 4Ks, Dan.
Oh, is that brown or black?
These are black.
Black.
Remember, what were the brown ones
talking
called?
about-
Remember
No,
that was
were they red? Red.
No,
It
they
was
were
HD
when-
DVD or whatever.
yeah, they were like Blu-ray and the other one were battling and
Yeah,
like,
Blu-ray ones.
but yeah, the Blu-ray was like blue edging and the other ones were brown. I'm like, no wonder you lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Chose brown
prettier.
for your branding.
And that was what Alex wasted his money on this week.
Have you watched
Very
any
nice,
of them?
Alex.
Yeah, I watched Bad Boys.
Yeah,
Three.
I watched that a couple of weeks ago. Mark Lowry.
Did you like Bad Boys 3?
Oh, I haven't seen number 3. I've only seen the first one.
Number 3 is my favorite out of all 3.
Oh, I heard it was like useless.
I mean, 2 is not great.
Yeah.
It was interesting at the time because it stayed in the box office like top 5 for
It's
yonks.
the highest grossing movie of the year so far.
What is?
Bad Boys 3.
It's because it cost $40 to make.
Yeah.
Will Smith took a $2 million pay cut.
Honestly, it would be Sonic, but Sonic came out a little bit too late and then it didn't get anything from China.
I enjoyed Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic was fun. But it
That
was
bit
fun.
where Eggman dances was the best scene in the whole film.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was, yeah, I mean.
And he yells at that dude like, because I love how you wake the latte.
Oh,
Like, that was
honestly,
amazing.
It's the Tails reveal that did it for me in the end.
Yeah, that was kind of after the film, though.
It's all right. I didn't care about the rest of the movie.
That's
except
like saying, "Oh man, the Avengers film was great. The best part was after the credits."
I loved Iron Man. Was great, but you know what? But Nick Fury rocked up in the end.
Yeah, I wasn't sold on Iron Man at all until mid credits.
Actually, no, the
Samuel L.
Avengers one's
Jackson
better.
showed up.
It's like, you know what? The Avengers was great, but when they ate shawarma at the end, that's when it became a movie.
Yeah, that
Cinema.
was a good one. That
was cinema.
I reckon with that, we'll go into what we've been watching.
What have you been watching?
Well, do we want to start off with my little segment of that?
A
Go
fish
for
called-
it.
Oh, yeah.
I think you guys will be interested in this. So, spooky, scary segment. Music will cut in here.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine.
Done. So for this
What?
week,
That's done in post?
well, I mean, normally when
Do you know how annoying it is from going for the last couple months of having everything go live till now where nothing's live and it just feels so
All post.
yeah, so normally when we record like together in a room, we all sit around and we've got the music like and the sound effects and stuff all with
So
us.
we can all dance along to the music, intro music as it's going and everything.
And now it's like, oh, cool. Now it's on Zoom. It's like, oh, well, I got to cut this in
It's
afterwards
annoying
now.
because we have a $900 mixer right next to me here, and
Not
it's just
using it?
sitting there collecting dust.
I'll
Yeah.
use it.
Dan will find a use for it. Dan, you've basically got the same use with all your stream decks.
Yeah, man. I got
All the sound effects and stuff.
I got one here. I got one here. None of them are. This one's on, but
Yeah, none of the sounds
only
go
I
through
can
for us,
only I
which is
can
a
hear
shame.
them. So like my inner monologue, I can do sound effects myself. Just for me.
So if at any point in time Dan just starts giggling to himself, that's what it is.
This is my Tim Allen one.
So this week, I decided to go back even further than when I went back the other week to Halloween. I went back as far as 1974.
Do we have to guess what the film it is?
Oh,
I mean,
letterbox.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a whole lot. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I never
Oh
seen
my
this one.
God! Haven't I been trying to get you
Don't
guys
get
to
too
watch
excited.
this
Don't
movie?
get too excited as soon as
Dude,
rating.
the second one is a masterpiece.
I have heard.
Is that the one with McConaughey?
It's the one with what's his name? It was in Speed, the bad guy. What's that guy's name?
Yeah,
Dennis Hopper?
Dennis Hopper. It's weird. Doesn't matter.
McConaughey's in
We
one,
don't-
like a real young McConaughey.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no, there was a remake with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey, I think. Or number 3, maybe. It was something like that. I know he's in one of them.
You know, we pulled it away from Braden. Braden, talk about your funny film.
Bless. Oh, so I had no idea what to really expect going into this. The only thing I knew was that there's a guy who chases them with a chainsaw and that it was made in the 70s. And that's kind of exactly what I got.
How good-
It's in the title. So.
Yeah.
How good is the hitchhiker at the start?
Oh my. So like when the film started and it has this like pre-opening credits, like cutting in and like coming out from this horrific like body horror style like thing that they've done in the cemetery and like with a radio news report going, and I was just like, this is fucked. Like this is like, I'm so like grossed out already. Like I do not want this. And then after the opening credits, it just cut to these like 70s hippies like traveling in their van, and it's like, this is a weird turn. Like, okay. And then all of a sudden, yeah, they're like, oh, the hitchhiker. And they don't show the hitchhiker at first. They're just saying that he's up the road. And they're like, oh, should we get him? It's like, oh, no, I don't like the look of him. Nah, you look scary. He looks weird. And they're like, no, we'll pick him up. And then the second it actually shows him, it's like, oh, this guy's fucked.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest characters of all time. And he's basically just in the second one. They just did the same scene in the opening.
Oh, really?
If I remember properly. Like,
Amazing.
You know who I always found annoying in that movie? The guy in the wheelchair, Sally's brother.
That's amazing. The grandpa.
Oh, no, not Grandpa. No,
No, Franklin.
the disabled guy.
Whinging all the time.
Yeah, it was a bit. It was a bit weird. Like
I've never seen it. I feel
Nor have I. So.
All right, we'll glaze over it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't care about spoilers. You can spoil the shit out of
There's
it.
two scenes. The one that Braden said, the one or the one I brought
the
up, the
opening,
hitchhiker,
yeah.
and then there's like the scene with the grandpa, which you think is a corpse the whole time at the table, and then they put her fingers into his mouth, and he just starts sucking her fingers, a corpse that you thought was dead, and they thought you just set up, like an old dead man, and he just starts sucking her fingers, and it's like,
gross.
Which was
Whoa.
it made it even worse that other girl, was it the other girl or was it the same girl? Like found them up in the attic beforehand, and like they were basically just dead. Like they look like corpses. So the entire time you think it's a corpse, and then they cut her finger and put it in the guy's mouth.
Braden, what did you think of like the idea of it? Because like I've always found the thing that I like about Texas Chainsaw Massacre is it doesn't really have I don't know about a score. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but like the sounds, it just sounds very like raw and gritty. Like the scene that always gets me is when she's running out and he just sort of like comes out and he just picks her up and she's like kicking and screaming and he picks her up with like such ease in like that dingy little house.
Yeah, it was very like, I 100% understand what you mean, where it's like, now that I think about it, I can't remember any music in this film backing anything at all, because all of the sounds that you hear and everything are all like just creepy, weird sounds that they just add in for flavor. Like
Flavor.
Yeah, it was just like, honestly, it made it just like really, it was really gross. And then I realized like, oh, it's kind of like Leatherface. Like, I think this is Leatherface at least. Yeah. Where like he's wearing like the skin mask and
the leathery face.
Yeah.
It's actually Leatherface.
Pleather.
Leatherface, the budget version. That's number 2.
But yeah, just like how I mean, obviously like it's very scary in the sense of like, and I imagine at the time it was terrifying and also hilarious for some people, because it's 100% the kind of thing where it's like, it's just these really weird, fucked up people.
I don't think it would have been hilarious to many people at the time, hey? Like it would have been, because that was cinema at the time. And when was Evil Dead made? Does anyone know what year that one was?
Oh, Dead.
That was. I'll Google it.
The OG Evil Dead.
Yes, Steph, do the job you were originally hired.
81.
So that's like, that's like, how many years before?
That's over 5 years later.
Yeah, so I reckon, Texas Chainsaw will be like one of the bridging ones of the slasher films. Like
I was going to say, as I was watching it,
there's no monsters in it. They're just horrible people.
Yeah, it's just a big scary dude and then their weird fucked up family. Like, yeah, that was my thought halfway through it. I was like, this is like a slasher film. I think this might be like the earliest slasher film that I can think of, because like I was thinking, oh, when was Halloween? And I was like, oh no, Halloween was after
way
this.
later. That's right.
Did you think it was well made?
I think for the time, yeah. For the time, like cinematography wise and everything, I was like, damn, this is actually impressive for like back then.
The fact that they made a film on Super 8 and it actually looks like a film is amazing.
Yeah. Like I was so impressed. And like some of the shots they managed, I was like, that would have been a pain in the ass to actually get. So I was impressed by that. That was sort of like my main takeaway from it. I was like, all right, I understand its massive cultural impact and everything. And like, I understand how like they had like hardly any budget really, except for like a bunch of bones. Like the entire house just being filled with bones.
Yeah, that was a good one, that bone house.
I thought that was like part of the best flavor of it. Like it was 100% like that when it starts showing like all these different segments and then it like cuts to a wide and all of those segments were part of a couch, which is also kind of built out of bones.
Have you seen the remake?
No, I haven't seen any of these. This was the first taste into this I'd ever seen. I'm trying to
work out what year they remade it. Like it was in that big splurge of them remaking everything. And there's a shot in it. If I'm remembering it right, there's a shot where like someone gets shot in the head and the camera zooms out and back through their head and out. And it looks chronically good, and it's the best part of the whole film. Like, damn. If you're going to watch any of them, just watch the tiny bit of the remake and the gunshot head scene.
I've been meaning to watch
they remade it in 2003.
Yeah, it's that one. This
has always been on like my list of like new movies to watch. And like not new movies, like just add like stuff to watch, because I did go through a phase like Braden's doing now when I went back and watched all the old school horrors.
Did you watch all the ones like From Beyond or The Reanimator?
No.
Dude,
I was going to say
The Reanimator is so good. Watch it. It's so horrible.
I was going to say we have the right person on here, and I think this is kind of going to be what takes over the spooky scary segment. This show is Dan. I just want you to tell us a bit about your love of horror, and I want you to recommend and describe some random shit that we would never have heard of.
Well, all my films I made in film school were horror films. They were all zombie gore massacre fests, which is, well, why not? So some films that I loved that were really, really, really good was one that I mentioned before. It's called From Beyond. It is I'm trying. I can't remember much about it.
Okay, that's a fun
From Beyond
poster.
was always one of my favorites. When I was younger. Stuff like Videodrone. Have you seen that?
My God,
Jesus.
it comes up when I search for From Beyond. I'm
does
noticing.
it?
I'm noticing a theme here.
I've got a very like.
That's a Cronenberg.
Yeah. So basically, any Cronenberg film that's like done in the 80s is like. It's why like in Rick and Morty they remember he goes, we Cronenberg this universe, we stuffed it.
So like with all the practical effects and all that.
Yeah, I'm a massive practical effects person. So like
practical effects and body horror, and gore, that is Dan.
Yeah. Other ones I really love. So Videodrone is chronically good. There's lines in that like death to Videodrone, long live the new flesh. Once you see that film, you will love it. Very, very out there. Other films, obviously, Evil Dead. Evil Dead 1 is so good.
Evil Dead 1 is awesome.
It's so good. There are so many good ideas in that film that it's ridiculous. I saw it when I was in year 7. That was my first R-rated film I ever saw at my friend's house. He rang me up and he's like, dude, do you like R-rated movies? I'm like, yeah. None of us had seen one. And I went around and saw that. And the amount of milk, they couldn't have blood cancer. They got milk. It made it look so much grosser. Like the idea that there's
awesome.
white liquid spraying out of people that are possessed. Like,
I love that first Evil Dead. Even the second one. The second one's just like a
remake.
Yeah, it's a comical. Like it's more goes into dark comedy style of the remake.
But even the first one's got some weird, funny bits. But it was the first film I saw ever. Lots of films always had axe scenes, but you always saw them chopping and then blood would come up and then you might see the aftermath. Yeah. That was the first film I ever saw. It had an arm on the ground and you saw the axe hitting the arm and chopping into this arm and stuff and leg. And I was just like, chronic. Yeah, Evil Dead. What other ones are there? You put me on the spot now.
I was going to say, because you're always the type of person where like we'll be sitting around after Hack the Dino and just chatting, talking about random crap. And I remember like one time in might have been early last year was when you were like, oh, have you ever seen Ip Man? And I was like,
IP Man with Donnie Yen.
Yeah, exactly.
Ip
and
Man.
I was like, I've never heard of that.
Intellectual property man.
I've always called it IP Man.
IP Man. And you showed me like the scenes where he's fighting like Mike Tyson and stuff. I'm like, I never would have known this existed.
Yeah.
Actually,
there's a new one this year. Or last year.
There was. Dan saw it.
What do you think?
I've already seen it. Yeah. The problem with them is they have to stick to the story of Ip Man. Ip Man's a real man. It's all the stuff in the Ip Man films he apparently did.
Right.
So the last one was when because he trained Bruce Lee in real life, and Bruce Lee took Ip Man's training and then created his martial art and then took it to America. And so the last bit is about him going to America and seeing Bruce Lee train. Going tournaments, but then of course he fights military military karate masters.
Of course.
That are the US Army have brought these karate dudes in, and they make karate people. Whoever likes karate are the bad guys, and they just hate. They're the most racist white people you've ever seen, and they all love karate. It's amazing. It wouldn't have happened like that, but that's the problem. They lose their there's always so much heavy racism in it, and the only Ip Man film that seems real is number 1. All the rest just go out.
How many are there?
4. But there's one called The Beginning. But Donnie Yen, you only watch an Ip Man movie if Donnie Yen's in it. Donnie Money is where it's at.
For those who haven't seen Ip Man and want to know who Donnie Yen is, it's is it Chirrut from Rogue One?
Yeah, he's the blind guy with the staff from Rogue One.
He's also in the SWAT team in Blade 2.
I haven't seen Blades, any of the
I've never seen Blades
either. I
think so.
I have Blade 1, 2, and 3 on DVD from my pa. I'm going to watch them. So I will report back next week on how the Blade films are.
Yes?
I was going to ask Dan, because I was actually reading an article and they mentioned a horror movie that apparently frightened quite a few people, and I've been debating whether or not to watch it. And if you've seen it, then maybe you can give me advice. It's a mockumentary, I think, called Lake Mungo or something like that.
Oh,
Has anyone here heard or seen of it?
is it new?
Nope.
Not too
Wait, it's a
new,
mockumentary?
Yeah, it's
Lake
like a horror
Mungo.
Mockumentaries
2008.
are my jam.
Yeah, I love mockos.
So the horror film that Brave was in that I made for film school, it was a mockumentary about a bunch of film students making a horror film who then get murdered by a real person. Like, so these kids like filming and so it's kids film, like it's about like a bunch of film school students like recording about a film, a horror film, and then they've got a documentary crew from another class of their film school to record them, to have like a behind the scenes thing.
Oh, very meta.
And then an actual killer comes in and kills all the film students, but the documentary crew think it's the film they're shooting.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Wait, that was your one?
Yeah.
That's good. I like it.
You know
that
what?
One, this Lake Mungo was in 2008. That's way too early. That's too young.
That's way too new. Way too new. I was going to say, I reckon as a kid, I reckon I saw my dad watching this because it sounds familiar.
What? Lake Mungo?
I don't know, like I don't really go for horrors all that much to begin with, and then like I like Cabin in the Woods, but apart from that, it's not really my thing apart from the classics in the 70s. And then even so, paraphysical ones, paranormal horrors aren't always my jam either. I like things set in the real world because I find it scarier. I don't know how to go.
Is it a mockumentary or found footage?
I think it's a mockumentary.
Mockumentaries making fun of the documentary style filmmaking.
Okay, Wikipedia itself says it employs a mockumentary format using actors in place of interviewees to tell the story of the family trying to come to terms with the drowning death of their daughter, blah, 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 supernatural events, blah, blah, blah.
It was made in Australia.
Yeah, there's an actual Lake Mungo in Australia.
It cost $29,000 to make.
That's amazing.
That's why, I love and respect the shit out of movies like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, dude.
Like, you have to respect that. Like, the fact that they made that film and they pulled it off with what they had.
Dude, I got the Blair Witch Project when it first came out back in the day. Remember VCDs? Do you remember VCD?
Nope.
I was going to say, the world before VCDs, there was bootleg VHSs. And I got a bootleg VHS of the Blair Witch Project, which was a tape of a tape of a tape of someone who just taped it. So it was even a shittier version of that film you could
I could
ever
imagine
get.
how that is.
Yeah, and I showed it to my friends down the road and just told them it was real, and they just believed me. And I probably watched that film 6 times in 1 week when we first got the video, because everyone that came over wanted to watch it. Crazy VHS that we'd got. It was like getting The Ring, like the actual Ring video was amazing. Now that film is as crappy and boring as it is, and amazing as it is as well. Like, you can't argue with that. Like, there wouldn't be films like Cloverfield and stuff like that without that film. And Cloverfield is one of my favorite films of all time. I love that film.
I like Cloverfield a lot, but I like the sequel, the 10 Cloverfield Lane.
And the third one is shit.
The Netflix one's.
Did you like it?
No, not the Netflix one.
Yeah. I was glad that was a shit. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know what they did with that franchise. With that franchise, what they like to do is they made Cloverfield, and Cloverfield was awesome. Like, it's one of the best found footage movies out. And then instead of, it really worked for 10 Cloverfield Lane, but instead of making their own stories, I like 10 Cloverfield Lane a lot.
I know, but it's like Unbreakable and all that. Things are tied together so loosely that is it worth calling it a sequel?
Because what it was its own separate movie that J.J. Abrams went, well, this is a cool idea. We're just going to tweak the end of it and make it a Cloverfield movie.
That's what I felt about it. I was waiting for the coolness of it to intertwine the whole way through, and all I got at the end was a little Martian man going.
And that's the same with the shitty one, the Netflix, the Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah. Rubbo.
Yeah, it was also like a different movie that they took. Then J.J. Abrams went, well, you know what? Cloverfield name on it, put the monster in the end of it.
Would you have preferred if they didn't put Cloverfield in the name?
Well, I don't know. For some 10 Cloverfield Lane, that was one probably up there with one of my favorite movies of that year. I just really liked that movie.
Who was the killer? It wasn't John Jarrett, was it?
It was John Goodman.
That's it. Goodman. It was John Jarrett. Wasn't the Aussie hey mate, got you in my bloody bunker.
Yeah, but I loved the shit out of that movie. That movie was awesome. I thought, and Yeah, and I thought Mary what's her name from Scott
Mary
Pilgrim?
Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah, I thought she was really good in it.
What did she play in Scott Pilgrim? Which one was she?
She played.
She was his girlfriend with the
Ramona Flowers?
boyfriend. Yes,
Ramona, yeah.
Thank you.
Nice. Well, I didn't. I watched that film when it just came and went for me. I didn't hate it, but I was just like, yep, because I think I just loved the first one so much. I saw that in the cinema, and it was so loud. Like when all that shit starts going down, and the monsters like foot's going down, and the tanks start firing. I was like, oh, this is so loud and awesome.
Well, it's like I don't know. It's one of those movies that I wish I could have seen in cinemas because, like, obviously, when it come out 2008.
Yeah, and I didn't know what it was, and I did a Matrix. I went to the Matrix as the same as well. I didn't know what the film was. Didn't want to watch it. Went begrudgingly, and like two of the way I've gone into a cinema like that, they've ended up being my favorite films.
One of the best things I've ever done was last year. Me and one of my mates went to go see the Matrix in theaters. Like they played at Palace Nova. We went to go see it, and that to me, that's the only way to watch that movie. Like that.
Now that you have seen it that way,
yeah, like that was unreal. Like I've always liked the first Matrix films. The other one I've seen too. I haven't seen any of the other ones, but
it holds up.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I've watched it multiple times. We watched it for school, even for religion, for some reason.
Yeah, we did.
Religion.
Yes.
Yeah, in religion class, we watched The Matrix.
Yeah, he has to die. Come back.
Oh no, don't worry. They found a way to link it to Jesus and stuff.
Yeah,
you can link anything. I mean,
yeah, but like watching that in theaters was unreal. Like seeing Back to the Future in theaters was great. When Steph and I went to go see Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
like
that was
seeing
really
something in the theater is just like on the next level. There's nothing compared to it.
Yeah.
Just from a quick cursory Google, the internet is very on board with The Matrix being a Messiah film.
Oh, it definitely. Well, the Matrix is based on The Invisibles, the comic. Like
It's actually.
What? Yeah. They had that. There's like documentation of them having the comic on set when they're filming it. Before they were the sisters, when they were the brothers.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so it's the same story as The Invisibles. So, which was that a Grant Morrison book?
Invisible is
Invisibles comic. Yes. It's a Grant Morrison book. So, do you guys know much about comics?
No.
Alex, you've read a couple. I got you on some.
I've been around the bend.
Do you know Grant Morrison?
No.
Grant Morrison wrote like all these like amazing like visionary psychedelic things that everyone knows now. So stuff like The Invisibles, Doom Patrol. He did like All Star Superman. He's done massive things. He did Final Crisis. Do you guys remember that? Like when Batman dies. Oh. He died in the early 90s. Yeah. So he's one of the biggest, like Alan Moore, Frank Miller, and then you got Grant Morrison. He's one of those kind of thing. But yeah, that's one of his comics, and it's basically the same story.
Awesome,
but
that's
not. It's just hard elements of it that are they've taken.
Okay,
and they just admitted that they're fine with it.
Was it enough? So they took enough for them not to give him credit. Yeah.
For them to not get sued over it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an excellent tangent off of scary segment.
I can make a podcast go for like 4 hours. Don't worry about it.
That's the Dan McGuiness guarantee. Now, I think we should probably talk about the homework segment.
Did you do your homework?
I did. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Hey. Kevin Kline himself. Man, I was
crazy that way.
Does everyone think Kevin Kline's a snack in this movie?
I thought he was excellent.
A sensitive new age guy.
Pardon?
Did you say a snag?
A snack.
Snack.
Snag? Snag. Yeah, like a sensitive new age guy. A snag.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely not that in the film.
No.
Dickhead.
Oh, he's so Michaela and I watched this together, and the entire time Michaela was just like, he's the dumbest person I've ever seen in film.
Don't call me stupid.
Like, I did not know what to expect going into this film other than Steph loved it.
So here's the thing.
Did you watch it, Alex?
Yeah.
Oh, did.
Did you watch it, Michael?
I'm assuming that was a yes. The
Marcus
internet would have been out.
All right.
Oh, I said yes. Hopefully it picked up.
Okay.
We've got you now. You're a static image. It's fine.
All right. Anyway, yes, I watched it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fine film.
How hard is like the first 20-minute slog of that film when you just don't care about anyone?
It's why it's only a 3 out of 5 for me.
I was so confused at the start of this film.
Here's the thing. I thought that the biggest thing this film had working for it was the characters and the actors. The story, it's okay. It's a
heist film.
Yeah,
it's an actual. Yeah, I know.
It's like the heist takes place 5 minutes into the film.
The start.
But here's the thing. I also thought it was a bit underwhelming at the end. I thought, like, it's a film where everyone's double crossing each other, and then it all just stops halfway through, and then you just know everyone's cards around the table.
Yeah, it's almost like whoever Jamie Lee Curtis wants to sleep with is who's going to win the film.
Exactly. I never
yeah, basically.
I mean, Otto, the character Otto, is amazing.
Yeah, he's absolutely hands down the best part.
So I've got a little bit. I know a bit about the film, as in like I remember when this came out, and I saw it when it was new. What year did this come out?
87, 88?
88. It was 88.
Yeah, so I remember being in primary school and we saw this, and I thought the sex scene in it, remember that it was so sexy, and there was nothing like that in films back then. To me, it was just like, hope no one looks at my pants right now. Yeah. When we were watching it as a kid, but like
classic.
Yeah, so back then, this film was people loved it, and I'd forgotten how much I must have seen it, because like when I was watching it, I knew every line that I'm about to say, every Otto's line, like everything he says, and like. But then you watch it with eyes now, as someone coming into it now, and it would just be a slow, boring, rubbish heist film that like the only thing pulling it together is
the actors. And
is a couple of really good scenes. I mean, at the end of it, you got to stand back and go like, would you actually really want to sleep with
John Cleese?
John Cleese. Like, why did she like him?
Excuse me, him jumping around speaking Russian.
I tell you what,
I thought my favorite. I feel like everyone's favorite scenes in this movie has to do with Otto. Otto knocking out John Cleese, not knowing it was John Cleese, and then like going, I'm sorry. He starts kicking him, and then he goes,
yeah. He gets angry again. Yeah.
Oh my god! Every situation that he got himself into was just incredible. When I looked afterwards, and I looked at the film, and I saw that it was written by John Cleese, I was like, oh, this all makes sense now.
You had to look at that after. I'm pretty sure it said it in the opening credits.
Well, it would have said that as well.
And he's an uncredited director too.
I want to know why Steph loves it. Go. Convince me.
I will tell you that I think Otto is like my favorite part of the movie as well.
Do you want
in terms of heist movies, I think I've watched it a few times, and I always find something new when I watch it. Like I always just notice little things, and I just think that the acting gets better. I've just got such a love for it. I really can't even explain. Like, I understand it's an old movie. It is dated, I think.
But it's not because it's old, Steph. To me, it's a story.
I know,
the story's rubbish.
I love the idea of like Michael. I think Michael Palin's character, like he loves animals and he has to go kill the dogs.
That is like a B story. Was like every single time it had me in hysterics purely because like the reason I really liked this film was because as I was watching it and I eventually gathered like what this film was, I was like, this is like classic British comedy with some Americans thrown in, and I just loved it for it. Like the fact that there's a beeline about this hitman who's trying to kill an old woman, but he can't because he keeps killing her dogs on accident.
Here's the thing,
I think the screenplay is fantastic.
Well, to me, it's like, because it's obviously John Cleese, he wrote it, and Monty Python. To me, and you've even got Michael Palin, who's from Monty Python as well. Dicketh coming back in.
Oh my god! His stutter was excellent.
But to me, it was like he was going so close to the Monty Python shtick, like where it'd be a loose story, and then you'd have the cutaways with Ken doing all that. But it just didn't. It kind of sat in the middle of what it wanted to be. What did it want it to be, like a cool heist like film with everyone double crossing, or did it want to go more into Monty Python? And to me, it didn't lean. like it kind of just stuck in the middle.
Okay, no, I can definitely understand that. Sorry, Dan?
I was weird about like how like there's one woman in the whole film and like she kisses nearly everyone in the film. Like,
yeah,
and I was like,
yeah, she definitely does.
Actually, she does. There's no other character.
For all of them.
She kisses Michael Palin as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? Why? Why did you have to do that? Like, she was just like, and everyone just seemed to like her so much. Like she was the sexiest woman in the world, which I think when they wrote the film, she was supposed to be the most beautiful woman. Like that was the whole point. It's like a weird love story that I don't know. We even know if it's a love story. I don't know what it was, but like I'm sure at the time when it came out, the complexity of the heist part of it would have been quite new and amazing at that time. But nowadays, like we have bloody Ocean's 476, like, you know, robbing space banks and stuff.
That was my favorite Oceans.
Like, yeah, like I'm sure like at the time when like you're getting these slow reveals of what's going on and like, oh, like they've cracked this and now know what's going on here and everything. Like at the time, it probably would have been really good. But
did
for
you
us
notice
now, we're just spoiled.
How long the opening credits went for?
Very.
Forever.
And it was just pictures of fish. And there were actually some bits I noticed where they had the fish swimming and then they didn't have enough footage. So they just reversed the footage and then put it back in and reversed it again. I'm like, oh my God, it's long enough already. Don't reverse the fish and play it again.
So that's a Monty Python thing, having long, drawn out sort of
everything like that.
Opening credits and stuff.
I just keep thinking back to random scenes and just like being like gobsmacked as to like at some point in the film we had Michaela and I watching it, we had to pause
stuff in there.
There is a little bit as well, but at one point we had to pause it and like go and do something, and when we came back on Stan, it came up with the description for it, and the first line of the description is that Kevin Kline won Best Supporting Actor for his role in this film, and I am so on board for that.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite thing is like, you know, the one-line sentences that Netflix puts on stuff to explain a film.
Yeah.
Well, on IMDb, it's in London, 4 very different people team up to commit armed robbery, then try to double-cross each other for the loot.
But like, what? Like,
there are no fish.
I mean, weren't you waiting, mainly Michael and Braden, because you guys hadn't seen it before this?
Yeah.
Weren't you just waiting for like something else to happen towards the end? I would have, like you wait for that one final like twist. Like, were you waiting for that? Because I was, and then
I think like all it is his wife like dumps him, and then they both go like to run away with the girl pretty much, and that's.
I think for me, weirdly, I really dropped off thinking this film was a heist film really early on. I went straight into, oh no, this is flat out a comedy. I'm completely ignoring the fact that this is even.
It's more of a post-heist film.
Yeah,
it's a post-heist film. That's what it is.
So
the heist happens in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, so once like some of the like detail, like minor detail stuff where it's like, okay, cool, like the key was in the treasure thing in the tank and now she's got it. And like once that was all out of the way, I was like, okay, I feel like that's it. Now I can just enjoy the dumb jokes.
When they like reveal that, you know, he still thinks it's in the chest in the tank and stuff, you already know where it is. There's not like, I know that's like sort of the thing, but at that point, like there's got to be some mystery on where things disappear.
Yeah, as a viewer, you always knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Which was weird. Where the characters were the ones who didn't know what was going on and the mystery was to them, where to us, we already know, so we're just waiting for them to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if instead of actually seeing it when it happened, if the reveal of Jamie Lee Curtis's character getting it out of the fish tank happened in that moment. Like, would that have been like, oh, like she's had it this whole time, and like, I don't know.
It's hard because it was made in a time when people just, I remember, loved that auto character when it came out. People were like, you know, everyone was driving, and whenever anyone went near them, were like, asshole! Like, that was the thing when I was growing up. I still say that, and knowing, finally, you guys might get it if I'm trying and like, all his lines are just like, don't call me stupid. Like, someone calls me stupid, I say that line back to them and then realize that no one knows what I'm talking about.
Now it's like, oh.
I quite like the ending when he's stuck in the cement and Michael Palin's coming at him with the big
See,
machine.
but-
that
It's like,
felt
you
very
don't have
Monty
the guts.
Python.
That-
That
yeah.
felt very Monty
A
Python.
very drawn out sort of scene where you know
Oh
what's
my
going to happen.
God.
And also, it just doesn't make any sense because there's no cement that would do that.
No.
Yeah, it like insta dried on his feet, but then it was also soft enough that he didn't
And
get
also,
crushed.
he
And also
didn't know he was standing in cement.
And no, more so the fact of he was hanging onto the side of the plane as it took off.
Yeah.
See, that's
Well, I
great.
love
That's
the scene
fine.
when
Yeah, I was on board with that.
I love the scene with Archie and Jamie Lee Curtis's character Wanda, and then he's just like touch his dick and he's dead, and then
Yeah.
like they go back
Oh
to
my
the
God.
house.
Yeah, those
And
bits
then-
when he busted in on like all the
Oh,
dates was heaps funny.
when
Like,
he
they were
was-
actually heaps
when he's
funny.
Outside the window with the stethoscope, I was in tears. Like I lost it. It was so good.
So what we can all agree is it just should have been called Auto, like not a
Yeah.
Fish Called
Yeah.
Wanda.
Just
Like,
quick Auto.
That's it.
just Auto.
A
We'll make
fish called
a
Otto.
sequel with just him. But he is funny.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
I reckon it's like a 4 out of 10 when it was made, and like a 2.5 out of 10 now.
Whoa.
I originally had
Oh no,
No.
out of 5. Out of 5. Sorry.
I gotta say, I can completely agree with that because I was 100% when I went to rate this. I was like, am I rating this for right now? Am I rating this off like my first impression, ignoring everything else? And I was like,
Well-
no, you know what? My first impression, I really liked this.
I've been hovering about like in between 3.5 and a 3, and it's a 3, even pushing lower.
Yep. Bless.
I've put it as a 3 for now, but
It was fine. It was like I didn't hate myself watching. I thought it was enjoyable. I thought the acting and the characters were standouts. I thought, but other than that,
no, the vibe
wasn't
I got
much to
from
it.
it sitting there watching it is one of those if I was younger, it would be one of those ones that mum would have on while cleaning the house. Like you hear a line or walk past to have a chuckle, then just stop paying attention for a little bit, and you'd still know what was happening.
it's one of those films that like, yeah, exactly. Like your parents would have on in the background while you're doing stuff, but then like your dad would stop and just watch like any big scene with Otto. Like
Yeah.
if you caught your eye of what you knew was happening, you'd stop and pay attention to this one scene, then you'd walk off and do something else.
Yeah,
That bit where like he sticks the chips in his nose
Yeah.
and then the apple, the pear in his mouth, always like makes me feel really weird when he's like,
I never
trying to breathe in around it. And
It
I was
looks
just like,
painful.
yeah, and then he eats all the fish. Like that
I did
scene was the
love
big
it.
scene that everyone remembered. Like,
he
and
made
I-
he made Jonah Hill look real good from Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
and yeah,
Just,
So-
yeah.
so we enjoyed it.
Yes.
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 And
Overall, we enjoyed
except
it.
for the first 10 minutes.
Had a laugh. Yeah, that was strange. Now, who wants to give out homework this week? Do we?
I'll do it, but I'll do it at the end of the show. Give me a
You want to
Alrighty.
pick through some stuff? Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. So in that case, I guess we'll jump into what we've been watching properly. Skipping over a couple that we've all watched and we can talk. Well, at least some of us have watched and we can talk about together. I watched that and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I thought I was towards the end of season 1 of Steven Universe. I didn't realize season 1 of Steven Universe is not like 28 episodes. It's like 52 episodes.
Oh, you watching, because they're half episodes.
Yeah, so
each episode is 2 episodes, so you probably thought you were.
So I was like, oh, sweet. Like I'm on like episode like 25. I'm probably like towards the end now. And then I looked and I was like, oh, I'm like halfway through the season.
And did you love finding that out? Because it's one of the best cartoons.
I honestly did. I'm really enjoying it. Like it's just started to get like a bit more like a lot more stuff's going on. And now like episodes are really connected. Like I'm really enjoying it.
My favorite bits is Pearl when she has meltdowns about Rose Quartz.
Yeah.
Like about like her relationship with her. And you're just like, ease up, guys. Kids show.
Yeah.
Kids show.
It's really interesting to see as a kid's show, and then to see like watching it knowing that kids are watching it being like, yeah, this is a fun cartoon show, and you watching it being like, this show's got some like serious shit in it. Like there was a moment, it was like the stupidest episode like layout wise, and then it just had this like real like heart punch in the middle of it, like all this dumb stuff's going on, and it's Steven telling a story to one of like his not like girlfriend or whatever, I can't remember her name,
Connie?
Yeah. So he's telling a story to her about what happened and why there's a fence on this cliff. And they're telling it and they're telling it. And like then right like 2/3 of the way in, there's just this heart punch about like Stephen and his mum. And like the girl he's telling it to is like crying. And he's like, what's wrong? And she's just like, just keep telling the story. It's so good. Like, and watching it, you're like, oh my God, this is so serious. Like, this is insane. Yeah, I'm loving it. Thank you for the recommendation, Dan.
It's a genius show. It's one of my favorite cartoon series that you can just watch so easily, and incorporating so much beautiful music in it, and like singing, and like
the
dad
score
and just,
and every single character is great, and the music is stunning.
Explaining to young kids interpersonal relationships between adults, and how adults can have all sorts of different kinds of relationships. The gender fluidity of like him having 3 mums.
So good.
Like the losing a parent, the expectation of like being in your parent's shadow, and then all the other. That's just him, and then all the other characters having all their sub storylines, all running at the same time, intertwining into each other. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's a bit shit at the start.
I was going to say it was the kind of thing that I was glad I knew that you told me that it was like kind of rough at the start, because I was like, okay, well, at least that way I can like prep myself for it and expect it. Dude, so I stuck through it enough to get to now it's getting insanely good.
That end film that ends the whole thing, a complete like 40s musical, like starting with the Disney startings, like the and then the whole thing is singing and perfect songs, like amazing. It's so good.
Goddamn.
And there's so many little things. There was just a little bit like where it just introduces like Connie in the film. And she goes, she's been studying a lot. Like, there's a voiceover, and it's her, and they've animated her in that, that like relaxed, chilling to lo-fi beats. Yeah,
lo-fi beats.
And they've remade her, like,
oh my God,
doing that. Like, just all these like pop culture references. Anyway.
I love it. Yeah, thank you for the recommendation, Dan. Now, Michael, what have you been watching?
I haven't watched very much. Spent my week catching up on lectures because
uni's back.
Yeah, so I have watched the 4th Harry Potter. Now,
nice.
She quite enjoyed it. 3 is still her favorite. I mean, 4 is definitely up there as one of my favorites. It's one of the ones I liked a lot when I was younger. So I always have a good time watching that one. But yeah,
I think we touched on it last week. 4's just fun. 4's
just the fun one. That's the middle one. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the Twilight one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Twilight.
Yeah, it's all puberty, Twilight, all hair.
The breaking of a diamond.
There's puberty back in action.
And then other than that, I just finally finished Tiger King.
Did she do it, Michael?
Yeah, she did it.
What's the question? I watched like 4 episodes and I tapped out. I was like, I hate reality TV. I don't know why I started watching it.
Yeah.
The whole question is like, did
Carol Baskin killed her husband?
Yeah, did the woman kill her husband?
Yes, even from me, what the small bit I watched.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's insanity.
I'm glad we all agree Carol Baskin killed her husband.
Nice.
Everyone in that
caught
show
up on the trend.
Oh, they're all awful people. There's not a decent human in that show.
No, not at all. Alex, what you been watching?
All right, kids. I watched a few things, but there's one main thing I want to talk about. All right, so obviously A Fish Called Wanda. Then I watched Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, this is a good one. I watched Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I kind of stopped my run of Marvel films because I was gonna watch them all because I hadn't seen season 4 and 5 of Better Call Saul, Dan.
That's right. You glory smashed that.
I did that. I did the deed.
You did the deed.
I'm going to say something controversial. Better Call Saul, at the moment, better than Breaking Bad.
My wife agrees.
It's fucking awesome. It's like, it's so different too. It's just, I don't want to say it's perfect, but it's damn near close. The way I'd put it is that if Breaking Bad is The Godfather, Better Call Saul is The Godfather Part 2.
Oh.
I mean,
2 films I haven't seen, Willie.
I was about to say,
have you seen them either?
I have no clue what that means, but
Doesn't the name Godfather just sounds so boring?
It's awesome. Like, I mean, what's his name? Fucking Bob Odenkirk knocks it out of the park as Saul. And and the character, I forget the actress, but there's a character in the show, and throughout the show, you just think of her as like the Better Call Saul Skylar, the female. Yeah. But dude,
the woman.
She's going to be the Walter White of the show.
But who's Walt Jr.? That's the most important. Is Badger in it? Is Badger in it?
No, but see, here's the thing, like
Guinea Pete?
So you see, Mike, it's in the show from season 1 to we're up to now, and then season 3, Gus comes into it.
Oh,
and what season 3 onwards, you really learn what came to be the feud between Gus and the Mexican cartel.
Where's it set? The show, like what time? It's set
2002, so a few years before. Breaking Bad was 2008.
It's a prequel.
Yeah. And like each season starts with snippets and clips, like kind of vignettes of him after Breaking Bad.
Ooh, okay.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's awesome.
Is it still going? Or?
Yeah, season 5 just ended. I think season 6 is going to be the last season.
It's the best thing they could have done because, like, I mean, you can't redo any more Walter White. They rang that for the ringer. Like they laboured him, his character.
Yeah.
Going back and doing that is probably their best kind of bet, I reckon, or a Badger spin-off show.
Well, they did El Camino, and I thought El Camino was perfectly handled.
Was that good? I didn't watch it.
Yeah, El Camino's great.
Really liked it.
It's perfect, and it doesn't like it. I mean, does it need to exist? No, but it's such a nice little epilogue on the end of that show that doesn't do anything to change the ending of that show, like in a big way. It's just like a nice little continuation and closure for a character that didn't get a lot of closure at the end of the show.
Dan, how's Badger in Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Oh man, I called that. Hey,
yeah,
he's the voice actor of one of the characters in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and he actually the character. I can't remember his name, the character, but he looks like Badger. Yeah, and then I was just like, I'm like, that's totally Badger. Like, you know that voice he's got? No, I can't do it. And and I called it, and someone looked it up on the live stream, and like, it is him. And I'm like, yes. I love like when you call a voice actor. I love that man.
It's the best.
And the only other thing I watched was Bad Boys and I think Onward.
Yeah. So did
I watched Onward again. Yeah, I watched Onward ages ago and I mentioned it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, but now we could talk about it a tiny bit because I just watched it as well.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Oh, you saw it as well, Dan?
Yeah.
I have.
I watched it last week.
Nice.
Have you seen Michael?
Definitely not. Nah. Definitely legally I watched it.
Yeah, that's how I watched it.
Definitely legally. No, I actually did once.
No, I actually have it on Netflix, but downloaded it accidentally. Didn't realize.
It's like, oh, I'll just grab this, and it's like, oh wait, I have this now. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was adorable. I thought it was really wholesome.
To me, it's fine. It's like it's fun, it's enjoyable. I think we get a bit more out of it because we like the more fantasy type.
Yeah,
I mean, like the world.
Start throwing D&D jokes in there, like you've got me.
My only problem was that it's like they made this really cool world, but they didn't do a lot with it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think that was the point of it.
Like, it is a really interesting premise. The idea I thought when I was watching it, I was like, I feel like Pixar had like a big writer's room, like powwow, and someone came up with a really great idea of, hey, what if these two boys magically bring back their dead father and the spell stuff's up and then it's Weekend at Bernie's with this guy's legs, and they're like, okay, cool. And then another person somewhere went, all right, what if we have a fantasy world where there's also just modern technology that was discovered and made?
It was like the children's Bright.
I haven't seen Bright.
But yeah, I don't know, I just kept thinking that the brother, like the non-mate, the D&D brother, he was just Jack Black to me too much.
Thank you. He should have been Jack Black.
And I kept thinking he was, and he fully felt like the brutal legend Jack Black as well. And I was just like, I couldn't let that go the whole way through. And I was just like,
I said that to my friend, like who also watched it, and I was like, this guy should have been Jack Black.
Who actually plays him?
Chris Pratt. It's Chris Pratt and Tom Holland.
Oh, is it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it totally doesn't sound like Chris Pratt because Chris Pratt is basically doing a Jack Black impression.
Yeah. Why did Jack Black?
I mean, you could pick out that was Tom Holland.
You could tell it's Tom Holland.
Even the character design. when he's not looking like Blue Luigi, Linguini, whatever his name is from Ratatouille.
Linguini.
Yeah.
Linguini.
Oh my god.
His character design looks like the dude from Ratatouille, though. But
He does look like with his massive hair. He looks like
where is
Ratatouille.
I thought the end scenes were really good. Yeah, I actually watched it. I fell asleep like 20 minutes before the ending.
Right.
But I went back the next morning and I put it on. I'm like, I don't remember this. And I rewound it like a bit. And when you're falling asleep and you can't quite remember anything.
Yeah.
I watched like 20 more minutes like in that stage and I couldn't remember one part of it. And I was rewatching it. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Yeah, look at that shit.
It does.
It's like his weird cosplay brother.
It looks like this dude cosplaying as an elf. But I thought the ending was my favorite part. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but
don't spoil it for people because it did just come to Disney Plus for us. But
it's just a really power, big, emotional stuff happening. Crazy and the mum characters. There's such a good character in that film.
Oh my god, the mum's excellent.
And then the lady, the bartender lady, whatever she got.
Yeah, Manticore.
Yeah, Manticore.
Who was her voice? She was super familiar.
She was someone.
I was going to say when I looked it up because I know
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, the mum was Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I loved everything sort of story-wise and for each individual character. They all had their little moment where something from the start came back to come and help them in the end.
Octavia Spencer was the Manticore.
Oh.
That was it. Yeah. And
it did feel like Pixar are nearly... Is it Pixar?
Yeah.
Pixar
Pixar
are nearly running on a template now, though, it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I was just I understand. Yep, this character's going to come back. That's going to happen. This is going to happen. Where's the bit that makes me upset? Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Well, that's Pixar. Everyone, they've got the stigma about them where everything has to be you got to cry in a Pixar film, and unless it's Finding Dory.
You need all 4 seasons of emotions in one film.
Yeah, honestly. And
especially
then they were
Inside Out.
I was going to say, we just made all the emotions in Inside Out.
Yeah, we just told you what you were feeling.
Yeah, we put it in your face about it. But yeah, I just like the idea of it, and Michaela and I were saying afterwards, we were it's definitely not Pixar's best work or anything, but
really, Braden,
I still really enjoyed it.
4.5 out of 5, and it's not their best work.
Yeah,
what is their best work, Braden?
Pixar
on
have so much. No, this was my thing, and
Toy Story 2.
I said this to Michaela as well. When I gave it 4.5, I agree with Alex on this one. What I was saying when I gave it a 4.5 and I said it's not Pixar's best is because Pixar have so many 5-star movies. They have such a high quality that even their not best stuff is still really good.
Sorry to just completely disregard what you said, Braden. But Dan, you said The Incredibles was your favorite. Was one of them? Hard to choose.
It's up there.
What did you think of The Incredibles 2?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you know what I got?
I wrote a better Incredibles 2.
Do you know what happened to Incredibles 2 for me?
It was awful.
Incredibles came out, right? You remember Incredibles came out? It was incredible. Everyone was like, "Whoa!" The idea of this, a lateral take on superheroes, almost where they're normal people and that. Then Marvel Studio films came out and gave us 35,000 films that had that vibe. And then Incredibles 2 came out. Yeah. So you're just I've just had...
This is more of the same.
Yeah, I'm now exhausted with this idea of these well-written superheroes.
But my biggest problem with Incredibles 2 was that... the
no
first...
Jason Lee?
He always helps. Syndrome's great. But was the fact that the first Incredibles was about her explaining to Bob and her getting to Bob to realize that working together is much a better option. Don't keep me closed out, keep me in the loop. And then in the second one, she does the exact opposite and goes off by herself.
Well, yes. And I think with the Incredibles is, they did what's the dad's name? Bob?
Bob? I think it's Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Robert.
Robert.
Yeah.
Rob. it was all about the dad. Second one was all about the mum. I just think they were going to do like 5 films about each character. Like that was their plan. Like I seriously do, because it was so much about the mum. It was ridiculous. And the first one was so much about the dad. I want to see the Dash film.
Here's the thing.
Hell yeah.
I really wanted them not to have this pick up exactly after The Incredibles. I reckon there needed to be some time.
Now I'm gonna jump in here before you get into your full pitch. I don't often recommend people go and listen to early episodes of
Episode
MMT.
1.
Back when we were
on an ironing
started
board.
the show, we were recording on one mic on an ironing board. The show was called Vulgar Professionals. No joke, Alex gives such a good pitch for what Incredibles 2 should have been. I'm going to recommend, if anyone hasn't listened to this, and I know you haven't listened to it, Dan, so you can go listen to it.
I don't go back.
That's fair. Yeah, that first episode, like you scroll all the way back on your podcast feed, you'll find the first episode where Alex talks about Incredibles 2, and it's great.
My quick summary of it, what I would love it to be. Well, Incredibles 3, we can still do it.
You can.
Is that it takes place 10 years after. All the kids are grown up.
Yep.
And basically, I wanted to make Violet the villain because she's showing through all, especially in the second one, she has the tendency to lose her temper and she can act emotionally. And I thought she
and
could.
they still have that, like, in even the second one.
Yeah, and I think she could be a really cool villain, and obviously, I mean, you'd shift the focus from the family towards more Dash, and then you could have mum, dad be kind of there, and they could help out in the end, but they're obviously going to be a lot older, so they kind of be like the mentor type, and then they get into the action at the end. But I really think it could have been a great emotional story, journey of Dash trying to bring back his sister from being a villain.
Bring Sasuke back from Orochimaru style in Naruto.
I was going to say Dan's anime jokes don't really land with this audience.
Yeah, definitely. And you can make up Dash as like the poster child, the kid who is always the fastest, the best, that they love, and then she's kind of like foreshadowed, and that broods on her. And
you'd have I can't remember the baby's name. Jack, that's it. I was trying to think. I knew it was like the same name twice. Yeah. Couldn't quite figure out, but we'd have him all grown up as well. So if
I don't have any ideas for Jack yet.
He's going through puberty. He's lost his powers.
He'd be going through that puberty part. So then he'll be like the awkward one, or like just trying to show off like Dash was like at the he was at the start. So
he could just be. It could be set in a world where superheroes are just nothing, and he just doesn't care. He's off it.
Yeah. He's got all these powers. He doesn't use them.
He's like. I don't know.
That could be cool.
Might want to workshop that. The screenplay needs work. We'll send it to Pixar once we're locked down on it.
Incredibles is they could do so much good stuff with it, but they just didn't do anything with the second one.
Did you guys like Kubo of the Three Strings?
I have not seen it, but I want to.
Seen it.
It's DreamWorks, I think.
Yeah. I've heard it's amazing, and I actually own it on Blu-ray. I just haven't watched it yet.
Well, homework.
There we go.
That film really blew me away. I had to step back and go, as a person who loves creation and craft and animation and everything mushed together, it's crazy, that film. At the end, after the credits, it shows you them making one scene in stop motion, and then the heads of some of the monsters are like this.
Jesus.
Huge
camera,
and they've got these tiny stop motion people running up them and shit, and it's like a whole room for just to films and scenes and shit, and it's just crazy. Anyway.
Damn, I did not know that was stop motion. I want to check that out now.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I just looked at it. I do want to get on that as well.
From what I've heard, it's awesome.
Now, Steph, what have you been watching?
We've just left it down. We just left to the end.
This will be very quick, actually, because I didn't really watch a whole lot. I watched My Neighbor Totoro, which I loved. I thought that was really, really cute. Yeah, I loved it. I'm a little bit traumatized still from Grave of the Fireflies, because as soon as I saw the mum in hospital, I'm like, they're going to kill her. I'm like, that's it. I'm going to have to prepare myself. Don't even. Do not even.
You're going to make her cry. You can
check out the pre-show over on Patreon to get what that reference is, if you don't get it already.
Apart from that, I watched Morning Glory with Harrison Ford, Diane Keaton, and Rachel McAdams, and Patrick Wilson. Best part of the movie.
I thought it was a Gallagher documentary.
No, actually, Harrison Ford is the best part of the movie. I take that back. His character is actually quite good. It was just my mum wanted to watch it. Rom-com, like 2015, I think it was made or something like that. Or yeah. And so like it's not very good, but Harrison Ford's in it, and I was like, yeah, he's all right. He plays the bitter old man fairly well, and I just kept watching it, and obviously Patrick Wilson's in it. That's all I have to say about it, really.
I love Totoro. In 1998,
cool.
I got
we were all just born.
I got my girlfriend at the time was studying in Japan, and she sent me a VHS over of Totoro, and I had no idea what it was, and it was just all in Japanese. And I just put it in, and I probably watched that like 10 times, having no idea what was any of the characters are saying. And you can just watch it because it doesn't actually matter, because it's like they've gone to a thing. The mum's sick, their kids, and they're going through this adventure. It doesn't actually matter what their dialogue is. And I watched it, like so many times. It's VHS, just no subtitles, just all Japanese.
I did cry towards the end when they were looking for the little girl, because I was just thinking about how sad it was. The little girl, when she's in her little raincoat, oh my God, she's so cute. And so I was just like thinking about her being lost. I was like, that's so sad. And then you get so worried for them. Like, plus, I got to be on my toes now with with those sort of movies, because, like I said, I'm traumatized.
Yeah, now they'll actually mess you up.
They're the only. I don't think. Yeah, The Grave of the Fireflies is the only one that's like that. That is just like his. What are you doing? Why did you do that? I need to watch
these movies.
You got
really
Alex
do.
on board now.
Yeah.
Got Alex on board.
Hang on.
If I was going to do a homework for you guys, I would say you all have to watch Pom Poko, because that is crazy good, that film, hey?
I have to watch that.
It's on Netflix. There's no excuse.
I was going to say they are all on Netflix right now. It is really easy.
I have to finish my my rewatch of season 1 of Digimon first.
Grave of the Fireflies isn't on Netflix. Thankfully, because I don't want to look at that.
Season 1's the best season.
Yeah, bless. And finally, rounding off the show overall, our wonderful guest, Dan, what have you been watching lately?
Oh, I've been watching everything. I'm just going to quickly name off everything I've watched and then only talk about one or two of them. I watched Code 8 on Netflix. I watched The Midnight Gospels, which is a new show from what's his name? The guy who created Adventure Time.
Oh, yes.
Pennington?
I saw people talking about this online.
Oh, was that released like recently? Like today?
Yeah. These are my. I'm doing them in order of recent.
Okay.
So they come out. Guns Akimbo. I watched that.
I have all the questions about that.
All right. I watched 4 Ghibli movies. I watched Pom Poko, House Moving Castle, From Up on Poppy Hill, which I'd never seen, and I'd also never seen When Marnie Was There. Which
Incredible titles.
Good ones though. And then I watched A Fish Called Wanda. I watched Seven with the old Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
I love Seven.
Yeah, it's a good one. My wife hadn't seen it. And I watched the entire season of What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows is just so funny.
And I watched Michael Jordan. I don't know what that show's called.
The Last Dance.
Oh, yeah, that's Michael Jordan. But what I want to talk about is, number one, I want to quickly talk about Code 8. Have you guys heard of this?
No.
So the write-up of it, are you ready for its one line?
Yeah.
A superpowered construction worker falls in with a group of criminals in order to raise funds to help his ill mother.
I'm in.
No.
No? Okay, I'm out.
It is, once again, it's a Netflix film, and it's one of these cookie-cutter Netflix films. They all have this film style of like really video-y look.
Yeah.
Superpowers. Yeah, that line is all that happens in the film.
I just Googled it, and it's the Amell brothers, Stephen Amell and Robbie Amell.
Oh.
And
from
the only
CW show Arrow.
Oh, see, I didn't even catch that. The only actor I noticed in it was good old, I don't know, say his name, Sung Kang.
Yes.
From Fast and Furious.
Han.
Han, yeah. So I was like, when he came on, I was like, oh, dang, respect, credit. Nah, shit. There's not many Netflix shows. Like even that one you said, that the Cloverfield one still had that look about. They've all got these looks about them where they look like they're shot on a really low budget D video. I don't know.
Do you remember when that Cloverfield got released? Like no one heard. They dropped it. They dropped the trailer and the release day on the same day. Like the release, they were like, it was the Super Bowl, and then like halfway through the Super Bowl, they went, after the Super Bowl, get ready to see the next chapter in the Cloverfield saga.
Yeah.
Boom. Right. Watching Wait. This is when they announced the film was happening as well.
Do you remember the marketing of the first Cloverfield film? How good it was? It was just a date. They just had this big date that they were just plastering. It was this black screen with a white date on it, and that's all it was. And for the, like Blue Harvest or whatever it is, that's just what it was called until it actually came out. And I was just like, and it was like secretly put everywhere, this date throughout the branding, and it was rad.
I love good marketing films.
So The Midnight Gospels, new show by the guy from Adventure Time. Can't remember his name. I should look it up.
Pendleton Ward.
Pendleton Ward. Also, it's created by Duncan Trussell, who has like a podcast. So basically what this show is, right? Premise. You ready?
I'm ready.
So you've got this I'll read out the one line. Clancy, a spacecaster with a malfunctioning multiverse simulator who leaves the comfort of his home to interview beings living in dying worlds. So basically they have a world where they create these simulated universes and then mine technology out of the universe and then let the world die because they've created these fake worlds. Then he goes in, he has a podcast, the main character Clancy, he goes into these worlds and then he interviews people in these dying worlds. The interviews are real interviews with real people. So real podcasts. So you get this really it's strange. Have you guys seen Waking Life?
No.
The Dream film, which has been animated. It's hard to explain if you haven't seen that. You've got this whole thing where you've got this crazy visual happening of those Adventure Time. It's not superb animation. These crazy ideas happening of a thing. Whilst these characters are just talking to each other, like just going like, and it's all philosophy. So it's stuff like the use of psychedelic drugs, activists and stuff like that. They're all, and they've got guest lists, but the guests play characters in the show.
That's so cool.
But because of how it's recorded and what's happening, you can't, it's too much. There's like this overload of like, you either can look at what's happening in the thing or you listen to these deep, complex like conversations they're having, and you can't do both. And
too much going on at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, like as someone who, and the stuff they're talking about gets quite deep, and I don't agree with a lot of it because it's my wife, she's got a PhD and all this crap, and and she listens to all these scientific podcasts where people have real reasoning and like tests and studies, where this is all intellectuals just talking about the theories of what they think should be. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't quite have the science behind it. Some of it, I didn't watch the whole season because I just couldn't do it. But watch it. You'll know by the first episode whether you can handle it. Like it's just it's out there. So yeah, watch that. And then Guns Akimbo. So you guys know of this one?
Oh, it's been the meme for so long, but now it's finally out.
Know about this one because the image from like on set,
it's like the set image of Daniel Radcliffe with the guns going
was all over the. I feel like that's been on the internet for years.
It's been on for a while.
Yeah, like so long, and now we're finally seeing.
I don't even need this movie to be good. I just need it to be weird and entertaining.
Well, you're yes. So the director is Jason Lee Holden, who is a visual effects guy. He worked on Avengers. He worked on Planet of the Apes, Wolverine, and stuff like that. The other film he directed is a film which I really actually enjoy and I watched about 3 times called Deathgasm. Have you guys heard of that?
No.
So Deathgasm, and I was really surprised that was him because I was like, oh, cool. Deathgasm's one line. 2 teenage boys unwittingly summon an ancient evil entity known as the Blind One by delving into the black magic while trying to escape their mundane lives. But it doesn't mention here they do it through writing the metalest black metal song in the world.
It's like a bloody Tenacious D song.
Dude, yeah, it's like Deathgasm has awesome music in it. It has awesome gore, awesome effects, and fun. Like there's a bit at the end where he gets a whippersnipper and puts a barbed wire on it that spins around, and then this naked zombie comes to him and he whippersnips its dick off. It's so good. I know that sounds so stupid, but it's like everything you want in a ridiculous, funny horror movie. Like full a la like as in Brain Dead, like Peter Jackson's Brain Dead kind of vibe, but with black metal. It's wicked. Yeah, watch that. So this is what was I talking about?
Guns Akimbo.
Guns Akimbo is this dude's thing. So this guy knows how to put a film together. He knows how to edit. He knows how to, whilst he is filming, what he can do with the camera to make these interesting shots. How he strings this stuff together is beautiful. The editing in this is so crazy good. It's amazing. Then you've got the story, one line thing. A guy, I'm not going to read that shit.
It's so dumb.
It's about an internet troll whose life is so crap that he goes on to this thing called Schism, which is a website where they put people up against to kill each other. And he goes on there and just like rags on them all, going, "You're all pussies," and that. And then they come to his house, bolt guns to his hands, and put him in Schism. And he has to like kill people. And like his guns have 50 bullets in each one, and that's it. And that's always.
Oh, you can't reload them.
And they're like just drilled into his hands. They're all infected and hurting, and like.
Oh.
And
also, Steph, I'm not sure if you know this. This is Daniel Radcliffe as well.
Daniel
Yeah,
Radcliffe.
I just googled the picture when you were talking about it because I didn't actually know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
This movie
I
is
feel like
so worth
bizarre.
watching.
What I'd seen was Braden and Alex showed me a picture a while ago,
I can't wait to watch
and
this.
yeah, that's all I know. They wouldn't tell me anything else. There's like, look at this picture. Can
That
you see
is
what's in his
bizarre.
hands? That's all you know.
Yeah. Well, there's
And I haven't
this
looked at
scene.
anything other since either.
Do you enjoy John Wick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. There's like, you remember in John Wick how they were almost punching people with guns?
Yeah.
There are scenes where like it even goes crazier than John Wick. Like this girl in it called Nyx, who's like the reigning champion who he gets put against. It has scenes of her fighting, and it's just crazy good. Like she does, like, you know, the choreograph of gunplay is just so fun. It's fun. It's not in any sense good.
Yeah, like it's you could say it's well-made garbage, or like
it's hot. It's like it's hot trash. It's Kesha. It's so good. Like it's indulgent, and it's everything I love in film. It's fun. It looks good. It's well written. It's like nothing in it. You don't go, "Oh, that's stupid," because the whole thing's stupid, and you just accept it, and it's great. It's like a Marvel film. Like it's stupid, but you love it because it's well made. Anyway,
Yeah.
I still don't think it's the best film,
But it's good fun.
yeah.
All right.
And then, and then I've got 4 Ghibli films, which I'm not going to get into because everyone's seen them.
We'll be here for ages.
Yeah, and What We Do in the Shadows TV show, great. Matt Berry, can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
I've watched the first 5 episodes of it, I think.
Yeah.
It's so I love the world building they do of the different type of vampires there are from the movie.
Yeah.
I love the guy, I can't remember his name, but he just sucks the energy out of people.
Oh yeah, their roommate is he's an energy vampire. So like,
yeah, it's so funny because all he does is he just works in an office cubicle and he just goes around and talks to all the people and drains all their energy.
feeds off them. And at first you don't even know if it's real, but it fully is.
It's so funny.
Matt Berry as a vampire is chronically good. His like attitude in it is hilarious. I didn't like the main vamp, like the vamp. I find him a bit boring. Nadia or whatever the girl vampire in it. She's hilarious. Everything she says and how she talks to people, she's like, "Oh, you stupid little thing, get out of here!" Like amazing. Later on, that they bring in the characters from the film. There's a couple of them come in like just for a scene, and then what's the director's name? How do you say? Yeah, he's like the head vampire of the world in it, and like and stuff like that. So yeah, you get all these like, it's just a great series that I smashed through. And as I said, Matt Berry in the perfect role of just like whenever he changes into a bat, he yells out "bat" before he changes. He's like "bat," and then when he comes down, he's like "human form," and like turns back down into and just stuff like that.
My favorite episode so far is the one where the werewolves are pissing on his hedges at the front.
And Arj Barker is the head werewolf.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
it's taking a very weird
because he does what's that thing called where you make sculptures out of plants?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his main sculpture is his mother's vagina.
Jesus.
And then and then he's like, "You're pissing on my mother's vagina."
Oh my God. Amazing.
Yeah, it's not. I thought it when I first started watching it, I'm like, "Oh, this isn't as good as the film," but it's got its own daintiness.
Yeah.
Well, once you learn, it's one of those things that once you learn the characters a bit more, it really, really shines that thing like great. And then they go, yeah, it's a good film. It's great.
Wow.
Not film, series. Yeah, smash that.
Perfect. I think with that's everything.
I think I talked for 50% of this podcast. I apologize.
That's good.
No, that's good.
That's why
We
you're
like
here.
that.
That's the point of having a guest. That we want your
Exactly.
opinions, because if people listen to the show normally, they're just hearing the same 4 opinions.
What's this
Exactly.
homework? I'm going to do your homework. What is it?
Yeah, Alex. Oh my God, did you
Did you
forget?
stop
Come on.
searching?
Other than that, you guys can watch Pompoko
Yeah,
Will
we
do.
got to watch
I'm
Pompoko.
or Guns
Alright.
Kimbo.
All right, we ready? I'm going to quickly do a scroll, and first thing I see.
You guys have got like an app that you look at all this stuff on, don't you?
Yes, I'll
Yeah.
send you a link to it so that way we can add you as a friend. And
You never
then-
did a sports section. I even had this background ready.
Sports is next week.
Oh,
Yeah, so
missed
sports and spooky alternate. So one week is
I'm glad I had
sports,
spooky.
next week is spooky. So
All right,
I figured
blockbuster movies. I'm
Dan can
scrolling
talk
across.
horror way more.
Oh man, I could have kept going. I didn't even get to talk about Reanimator, which you all should watch. Obviously, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, 1985.
I've
Oh,
heard
so
of
good.
Reanimator before. I have never seen it or anything, but I have heard of it.
You should watch it. It's chronically weird, hey. And the gore in it is like it's just about a guy who is obsessed with bringing people back to life, and like and he like bored roommates of this guy, and they bring this cat back to life, and it's the most horrifying thing. And there's so much needless nudity in it. It's great.
All right, I got a movie. I just got to see if it's on anything. If it's not on Netflix, I mean, I feel like you guys could get a hold of this movie. I really hope it's on something. Let me just check to see what it is. Let me
Is
see.
it old?
It's old.
So
It's
it'd be on
80s.
DVD.
Is it Teen Wolf?
No.
Good.
Imagine if you nailed that. It's like, yep, Dan is Teen Wolf.
100%. Everyone go watch Teen
Why
Wolf.
don't you guys just watch Chud? Do you guys remember that?
Chud.
No.
The cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
Jesus.
You see, this is what I mean, Dan. You pull all of this stuff out of nowhere.
They use a reference of it in Clerks. He goes like, "You're chud of a child." Like,
Oh my God.
in Clerks
Damn
2.
it. Fuck.
Is it not
Clerks
on
2?
anything?
It's you can buy it or rent it on YouTube for $3.99.
What is it?
It's Weird Science.
Weird science.
No, it's on. It was on Netflix. I
It
watched it
was.
recently. Or Stan.
Weird Science.
Anyhow.
That Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
Robert Downey, really young Robert Downey Jr.
Oh man, as the the bad guy.
yeah,
kind of
and
like
Bill
dickhead.
Paxton
Bill
as
Pa-
Chet.
Bill Paxton. I'm like,
Is this the
that
one?
fi-
I just looked it up to double check, and looking at the poster, is this the one where they make the woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you
God,
watch it
okay.
now, it is the most un-PC film you've
Yeah.
ever watched. There are so many questionable scenes in it.
Oh,
Especially
bless.
the fact that she's an old woman purely created to have sex with them.
I've
And,
never seen that movie or heard of it before.
Oh, my
boy.
dad loves it.
Yeah,
I'm sure he did.
I remember loving it as a kid. There is one scene I can't handle in it is like when they pour a milkshake on them. It's a slushy. When it comes down onto them and
just a
shows it,
milkshake.
it's like 3 buckets worth of thing hitting them, and it's just from one cup.
Amazing. All right. Well,
I have
everyone.
because
you got-
well, we can't do that because it's not on anything.
Okay. That's fine then.
I
Alright.
do have this, and
Alright.
this is all right. You guys ready to go back to 2009?
2009. Okay.
Right, 2009.
2009, post High School Musical. Zac Efron did a little film. It's called 17 again.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Here
What
we
is
go.
that?
God.
Why would you? I'm glad I'm not part of this show next week.
Honestly, Dan, I
Yeah, he's
need
like, I'm
something
not doing the
quick,
homework anymore.
and I
I'll change my
opened.
mind.
I
Oh,
opened up my
bless.
phone and it's what we had. So, guys, I'm sorry, but we're watching 17. I'm not sorry. It's a bop.
I think
I've
you
never
should-
seen it.
if you guys want a backup one, watch Videodrone. That
All right.
movie is
I'll watch
crazy
that
good.
too.
Watch them
There we go.
both. and then
I was
come
going to
back.
say now.
I was either going to say that, or we can watch Extraction or Dark Phoenix because they would just put on.
Dark Phoenix.
Yeah. Nah. Let's not.
Or you can watch Extraction if you want.
Just watch X-Men 3 if you want some good Dark Phoenix.
Oh, good.
No.
Remember that bit where
better-
Chesty Wolverine's like walking up to her, just kept getting his chest blasted and growing
oh my
it
God.
back. Whoa!
Bless. Bless.
You know what I'm changing? We're watching Extraction with Chris Hemsworth. Let's choose something topical. Topical.
All
not
right.
tropical.
There we go.
Tropical Thunder.
We'll
All right,
watch-
so everyone's going to watch The Extraction on Netflix before next week. And I think with that, that's our episode. That's it. MMT.
There we go.
Thank you so much to everyone for joining us, especially Dan. Thank you so much for
Thanks, Dan.
No worries.
out.
Great to have you
come
on.
I could come on at any time and talk your ear off.
Yeah, that is 100% exactly what we will use you for. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, seriously, thanks for coming on. Everyone at home should go and check out Greenlight Comics and Hack the Dino and
Go check them out.
pick up any of Dan's books that he's worked on as well.
Well, the Greenlight Comics, we have an online store now. So if you don't want to come out, you can go to greenlightcomics.com and buy books. Every single thing that is in my shop is on the website, which is
I need to get the new edition of Rat Queens. So
Volume 7.
yeah.
Well, there you go. It's on there.
I was going to say, I need to double check what I've got at home right now on my shelf back there. And actually,
Well, because Saga, there's no new Saga, so you know what?
You got Volume 9 of Saga? Yep, to
Yeah.
9. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you read Brian K.
Nice,
Vaughan's
great.
Why the Last Man? It's heaps
No.
boring.
oh, bless.
All right.
All right,
And with that, I'm Alex.
I'm Michael.
I'm Steph.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Braden.
And we're out of here.
Bye.
But